Tonight, the Minority in Parliament boycott meeting with Chief Justice is a bold move to signal the continued dissatisfaction with processes leading to the appointment of Chief Justice Baffoe-Bonnie.
Is he on a thank you tour? Is my Lord Baffoe-Bonnie on a thank you tour? Thanking the government for appointing him. We, the minority, don't see him as a tolerant head of the division.
More from Alexander Afenyo marking as the group sends strong warning to majority they will not allow government rush any bill through parliament under certificate of urgency as they vow to match the majority boot for boot on the floor this year.
The majority has turned parliament into a parliament of fast track and no scrutiny. A rubber stamp parliament where everything comes under certificate of urgency. They should be ready to beat us in the chamber. We will resist.
We have details from Parliament as the opposition takes on Bank of Ghana and the Ghana Gold Board for causing financial loss to the state in a $214 million gold for reserve loss. We have details of that, plus speak to those who matter in this particular subject here on Top Story. All right, Top Story as always is brought to you by Telecel, Connecting Energies, Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil Enjoy, Holy Sleep, and also by Shield Pension. Trust into the future with you. Now, the minority in Parliament have boycotted a meeting with Chief Justice Paul Baffoe-Bonnie. Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo announced the boycott ahead of the meeting at a news conference. The minority in Parliament also sent a strong warning to the majority ahead of the resumption of Parliament, indicating they will not allow government to rush any bill through the House under a certificate of urgency. Now, the caution comes as part of the opposition's measures to escalating their duty of, holding government to check. Now, let's first listen to their reasons on why they believe Ghana's economy's new turn is not the doing of the Mahama government, but solely as a result of external forces.
We have been told that the economy is doing well. That is not in doubt. But the question is the economy doing well because there is prudent management of our economy, or that whether this government has introduced some social intervention programs that have in itself created an opportunity for young, ambitious Ghanaians? We hereby submit that the so-called gains were not born out of government's competence in the management of our economy. Rather, the IMF program, debt relief, rising commodity exports, reduced expenditure are the major reasons for the upswing in Ghana's economy, not a re-engineering of the economy. Therefore, my respected friend and colleague, Dr. Forsen, must know that these facts expose the government's hypocrisy in telling us that they have prudently managed the economy. The much-touted fiscal consolidation has been attained on the back of a sharply cut expenditures for critical sectors, resulting in lower borrowing needs, and currency appreciation solely due to the weakening of the US dollar, which has led to preference for massive global investment in gold. Also, the debt restructuring, which we started under MPP while in government, in addition to the commodity export boom in gold and cocoa output, led to the big trade surplus which was recently announced. So since May 2023, Ghana has had a $3 billion from Ghana's IMF program, which in turn has unlocked light debt relief and financing. For example, in mid-2025, Ghana's parliament approved a 2.8 billion restructuring deal with 25 official creditors, including China, France, the US, UK, and others. Under this agreement, all debt payment due through 2026 were rescheduled, effectively granting Ghana 2.8 billion in debt service relief it could play with in the budget. So once again, Ghana's economic fortune so far is tied to the IMF program and the windfall, not necessarily due to any re-engineering of the economy.
All right, now, my colleague James Aveji was at this particular news conference earlier and joins me in studio with much more. James, let's delve into the, specifics, but let's start from, a certain notice that a minority has found space to address the ongoing tour by the CJ, by indicating that they will take a certain action. What is their position?
Yes, so, Braced, this morning the Chief Justice have been to a number of institutions. First was the Ghana Police Service, where he met the IGP. And from the police, he moved to Parliament in that scheduled meeting between the Speaker himself and the Speaker. Now, per customs, anytime any of these institutions or heads of institutions comes to meet the Speaker, it is done in company with the leadership of Parliament, where you have both minority and the majority, but based on the invitation of the Speaker. And so we didn't know that this was supposed to be with the leadership, but at this press conference, the minority leader, in the middle of addressing the issues on the table, indicated that they have heard that the CJ is going to be in Parliament to meet them, which is the leadership of Parliament, and that they are registering their boycott of this particular meeting based on two key issues. One has been the issue they have raised during his vetting. Remember that famous introduction speech by the minority leader, which dragged the whole process for over 3 hours, about questions surrounding his appointment. And that two, they believe that this must have been a thank you tour he's embarking on to thank the John Mahama government for appointing him as a Chief Justice. As far as they are concerned, they don't regard him, especially that they don't see him as a tolerant head, quote unquote, of the judiciary. And so they will not sit in this meeting with the CJ.
And by the way, we have seen that my Lord Baffoe-Bonnie and his management are all over at the various ministries, including True. Is he on a thank you tour? Is my Lord Baffoe-Bonnie on a thank you tour? Thanking the government for appointing him as a Chief Justice. And we hear today he is coming to Parliament. We, the minority, don't see him as a tolerant head of the division, because members of the minority came under attack when we criticized the processes leading to his nomination. We will therefore not be part of his thank you talk. If he wants to engage us, our offices are open. He should come and engage us, and we'll let him know things that we find wrong.
Well, James, that's the minority leader speaking there on their reasoning or their decision to boycott this. But let's delve into specifics, starting with the Gold for Reserve programs. What did the minority say in terms of what is being their fresh position on this particular matter?
The minority has a problem with the Gold Board being a regulator as well as dealing in the gold market. They believe that this compromises their position as a regulator of the market. They believe that the $240 million figure that is in question, which they believe is a loss in the Gold for Reserve program, which the Gold Board CEO gives a different description to, They believe this is a financial loss caused to the state by both the BOG and the Gold Board, and that they have triggered a motion in Parliament which have been accepted, and that if the Parliament come back, they will invoke every power of Parliament to look into this matter, as they also invite other stakeholders in the gold environment or market to take an interest in this and see to a proper conclusion of this matter.
And today, we don't know whether the Gold Board makes a distinction between regularly mined gold or an illicit gold. All we know is that they are talking about their success story, the amount of gold or the tons of gold they have purchased. Yet they fail to tell us whether or not there are measures to fight against illicit gold that are mined through galamsey activities. But we want to tell the central bank, participating in the activities, being part of the feast, and when there are issues, you run away and you want to put the blame squarely at the feet of Gold Board will not wash. What is happening amount to a financial loss to the state. We are also aware that central bank is saying that it wants to give some moratorium of 1 month to allow for further deliberations amongst the various parties, the Ministry of Finance, Gold Board, and government, on a sustainable cost-sharing structure for the program. So indeed, if the minority was merely blowing hot air, why have they now decided through joint board meeting to take steps to ensure a sustainable cost structure?
So that's the minority leader there. James, let's end with your warning to the majority ahead of the recall of the House.
So the minority leader has been clear today. He said that they will not give the room for what they describe as the rush of bills through the House under certificate of urgency. They gave a few examples. For instance, they believe that some of these bills taken under certificate of urgency lead to some defect in the laws which the various institutions come back to Parliament to seek for amendment. They talk about the lithium deal, which was taken through under certificate of urgency and now has been ditched and brought back to the House for some corrections, especially on the rate, rate issues as well. And so they are sending this strong warning to the majority that they will hold both the other side of the House and the government to account and will match them boot for boot on the floor, not regarding the numbers 87 they have on the floor.
When Parliament commences, reconvenes on the 3rd of February, we are no more going to allow the majority to have it way. The majority has turned Parliament into a Parliament of fast track and no scrutiny. A rubber stamp Parliament where everything comes under certificate of urgency. Yes. They should be ready to beat us in the chamber. We will resist with all the energy in us. No more certificate of urgency. They had their way in the passage of the Gold Board law, the Energy Sector Recovery Levy, the Doomsday Levy. They also introduced a certificate of urgency and many more other laws that they pass it through certificate of urgency without any scrutiny. We hereby sound a caution to the NDC majority. If they are not ready to read, we are ready to read. We all became aware that their 189 only exists in numbers. That's right. When it comes to substance, they can't match the length of the trousers of the minority. They only talk numbers. But we all know that even in the passage of laws, when it comes to quality debates, we do proper research and we argue on facts. supported with data. What they come into the chamber to do is their propaganda. But come 2026, this 2026, they will never have their way.
You're still listening to Top Story, brought to you by Telecel, Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil, and by Assured Pension Trust. We've been joined on the phone lines by the Majority Chief Whip, Nelson Roxon Dafiamakbo Esquire. We're grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. First off, the minorities say they will not tolerate any bill to be brought to the House under a certificate of urgency, and that they will do that to, to check you, the majority, and the government. What's your response?
First of all, let me seize the opportunity to say good evening to, I believe we are on radio.
Yes,
so
please.
Good evening to your listeners. And also those who are somehow watching us on Facebook. Let me also say good evening to my colleagues who will be returning to the House sometime next week. We want them to quickly round up and come so that we can do government business. First of all, what is the minority leader saying? Which part of the Constitution gives him such powers that he can stop the government from introducing a bill in pursuance of Article 108, 106 of the Constitution and the certificate of urgency? Using what means? When he was a minority leader, how many bills didn't he introduce under certificate of urgency? Who questioned him? How does Afenyo think that he can get up and talk like the way he's talking?
Now, he gave some reasons. He says...
No, please. You didn't ask him to give you particulars. And we are going to provide you with particulars. The number of bills under his leadership as majority leader, he passed under certificate of urgency in this same parliament. The number of bills that his immediate predecessor, the Honorable Mensah, who passed under certificate of urgency in this parliament. How many bills has the NDC government passed within 2025 under certificate of urgency? As a result of which he thinks that he can mount a platform and steal all those things. If he has any material thing to say, he should say so. In any case, he's also confused. How does a lithium agreement amount to a bill? If he brought a lithium agreement for ratification, and because of concerns of stakeholders, government has listed and is being withdrawn for the concerns to be factored into the agreement and to be brought back for ratification, how does this amount to a bill being brought under certificate of urgency, as a result of which a person will mount the press conference and be talking in the manner that he's talking?
But doesn't he have a point when he says when a bill or an agreement is brought under a certificate of urgency, it does not help in the sort of strict checks that the parliament has to do, and that's why they say, well, no to any certificate of urgency. Let's do thorough work on the bills and agreement that are brought to the House.
I am telling you that the lithium agreement is not a deal. So in the first place, he has goofed.
But he cited several laws as well.
He has misled the public. A lithium agreement is not a bill. There's a difference. It's an agreement that has been executed between the government and an investor in the mining sector.
But that wasn't the only one he mentioned.
Hold on. The requirement of law is that it's brought to Parliament, the Parliament to ratify. In the course of the ratification, issues were raised. Afenyo himself, as majority leader in the 8th Parliament, withdrew a lot of agreements and bills. I will provide you with evidence. So this crusade, he has nothing material to say about this government. So he has to be clutching at straws and be talking as if he has anything material of concern to this government. There's nothing. Number two, Afenyo says that the speaker's visit to the CJ's visit to the speaker today was a thank you tour. Really, the the Chief Justice listed the Speaker as a head of a co-equal arm of government. And as leaders of Parliament, the Speaker saw it fit to invite us leaders to join him to welcome the Chief Justice. Today, you have had to listen to reform programs that the Chief Justice is introducing in the judiciary. These are the things we are asking for. And the man is on a crusade to get that done. He says that he cannot do so alone. He needs the support of Parliament because it is Parliament that approves the budget. And you cannot be asking for budget enhancement only during the budget approval process. So in his wisdom, he's engaging Parliament from the beginning of the year and throughout the year so that when it is time for budget approval, some of these concerns that he wants to reform can be properly accommodated in the budget. How is that this amount to a thank you talk? Because you see, he has decided to detach himself from the governance process and do petty politics with everything.
But Afenyo's argument does not only rest with Parliament. He mentioned other agencies that the Chief Justice has been to. Today, we know he was at the police headquarters before coming to you. And his argument is that it looks as though the Chief Justice from last week has been touring one state agency after the other. And that's like thanking the government. He doesn't have a point to raise issues with that.
Can you, if you ask the question, can we answer you?
Of
because
course.
I'm going to answer all the things you have raised.
Okay.
The Chief Justice didn't only visit Parliament because he intended to visit Parliament. He made the point that the premises, if you go to the premises of the Superior Court of Judicature, that is the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court, they don't have proper security. So they are arranging with the Ghana Police Service, and by doing so, visiting the IGP, to request for a permanent police presence within the premises of the Supreme Court and the other courts. How is that not a good reform? Again, he visited the Minister of Finance to engage him in respect of some limited accommodation facilities they had for some Court of Appeal judges. And so they are looking for more support to be able to provide for some of these Court of Appeal judges. How is this out of order? Again, some of our Superior Court judges do not even have official vehicles. So how wrongful is this on the part of the CJ in engaging the Minister of Finance from early in the year, a matter of politics?
Okay.
Every leader has his staff. This new Chief Justice, he has his staff. And we're all commending him for being proactive. Every day, the judiciary cries that the judiciary is denying this, the judiciary is not giving support. Now, the man is going out of his way to ask for support. Again, Afenyo says it is wrong.
All right. So in that particular meeting you were there, what was discussed?
These are the matters that I've just articulated for you. He also spoke about the fact that the courthouses, the judges, there are about 40 Court of Appeal judges that do not have places of office to operate from. And that is such a serious matter. That a Court of Appeal judge will come to work, will have no official residence, for purposes of his office work, like desk work. So they are making arrangements to provide for that.
Okay.
You don't do that in isolation.
Mm.
You need to engage, including that he wants to introduce a morning session and an afternoon session in the court proceedings, so that a court will sit from 8 a.m. to about 1:30 p.m., and then another judge will take it over from 2 p.m. to about 6 p.m. These are the reforms that the CJ is introducing to ensure that cases are expeditiously heard.
Okay.
The complaint is that there are too many cases clogging the wheels of justice from grinding.
Mr. Definitely, are you one of those who argue that you want experience in the House?
Hold on.
No, I just want you to clarify this for me.
Establish special courts to deal with matters of galamsey, for instance. We call them environmental courts.
So there's going to be
minority
specialized court for
that is
Galamsey. Huh?
wrong. Sorry?
There are going to be specialized court for Galamsey.
Yeah, to deal with environmental issues, environmental offenses.
Okay. Now, are you one of those who argue that you need, experienced people in Parliament?
Am I those what?
One of those who argue that you need to have experienced people be retained in the House of Parliament.
Yes, by all means, Parliament requires men of experience, as well as a blend of the young and the old. But experience is always better.
But isn't it on the same score that he, having been a majority leader before, is advising that we need to put an end to the certificate of agency because it does not help us to come out with good laws?
He should tell me the flaws contained in those laws that he himself passed under certificate of agency, vis-a-vis the few that we have passed under certificate of agency within the past 12 calendar months. Then we can make the analysis. But until he's able to provide those further particulars, I think that is blowing hot air. And you shouldn't pay attention to him.
How do you respond to their stance on the CJ's nomination? They still say they don't appreciate how he was nominated.
Now, has he been able to establish to you the constitutional breach in the course of the nomination? So again, it is about suppositions. They say things based on suppositions, not based on fact, not based on law, not based on nothing. And want to just say things and throw them out there. You saw them at the vetting. What did he say? Somebody who has been on the bench since 1992. And you claim that he's not qualified to be a Chief Justice.
How ready are you for the minority when the House reconvenes? Because they say they won't allow you to have your way, just like that.
But have we ever had our way in Parliament? We've never had our way. Everything we have done in Parliament, we have competition or litigation from the minority. But we often will put the things to vote. So if the minority leader is saying they will stop us, I am struggling to appreciate his choice of language. Because we have also been in the minority before. We didn't behave in the manner and the threat that he issues publicly. We go to the floor and articulate our concerns. We vote. If we were voted, we took it in our stride. If we felt strongly about a position which he was not minded to accept at the time, we walked out. We don't threaten to the extent that they will have to beat us. We didn't do any such thing. So he should be minded in his choice of words. That on the floor, it is not about broom. It is about grain.
I'm grateful to you, Honorable Nelson Roxon Dafiamapo, Majority Chief Whip. This has been Top Story, brought to you by Telecel, holding Insecticide Spray and Coil, and also by Shield Pension Trust. Up next is Newsnight.
In the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight, former Environment Minister Professor Frimpong Boateng and two others take on Ghana's political establishment, dragging the NPP, NDC and CPP to the Supreme Court, challenging their delegates-based electoral system. We have details as the plaintiffs push for a one-member, one-vote crusade that guarantees equal, direct and meaningful participation for all members in good standing. Also tonight,
A private citizen drags the General Legal Council and the Ghana Law Society to court, challenging the legitimacy of the society's accreditation.
If he finds it meritorious, he will ask that they bring him to Ghana. And when he comes, he will go through the same process that everybody else has gone through when they have been accused of wrongdoing.
We have a response from the Ghana Law Society to this injunction. Also tonight, government questions the basis of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori's fears of being mistreated, describing his posture as an excuse to avoid accountability.
In business.
Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson is ties sustaining city stability for this year to managing market expectations.
And in sports.
Former FIFA President Sepp Blatter joins the calls to boycott the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Also, world's biggest streamer iShow Speed begins his one-day tour of Ghana from the eastern region. We have details of all the things he has done so far in the country, plus his new Ghanaian name.
We are here.
Well, it's taking social media by storm. We have the very latest for you, what he's been up to. Stay with us here on Newsnight. You can join us with your thoughts and comments. 05511119997. My name is Evans Mensah.
I am Pale Ofori.
Details up to this.
Moms always say too much of everything is bad, but there's one too much mom actually approves of. Telecell's Too Much Broadband Bundle. This season, all you have to do is buy the 150 Ghana Cedis Too Much Broadband Bundle in addition to your main broadband plan and get 150% bonus data. That's right.
Simply buy the 150 Ghana Cedis Telecell Too Much Bundle in addition to your main broadband plan and receive 150% bonus data. Dial *900# use the Telecell Play app or visit the Telecell website to buy now.
Telecell, connecting energies.
No matter where we are, Africa always calls us home. And here in Ghana, the call is clear: to power growth and create lasting impact. At Stanbic Corporate and Investment Banking, we are creating giants and connecting businesses. From financing bold energy projects to enabling cleaner, reliable power for industries, we are fueling Ghana's transformation. With our support, Gensa Energy is delivering sustainable energy that powers Goldfields operations, helping them move closer to cleaner, greener mining. This is a story of how we bring businesses together, create jobs, empower communities, and invest in the next generation. Stanbic Bank, delivering sustainable growth, creating impact. To learn more, visit stanbicbank.com.gh.
It's a live your news night is on Joy 99.7 FM. Two political heavyweights, former Environment Minister Professor Frimpong Boateng and Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, and one other. They have dragged the MPP, the NDC and CPP to the Supreme Court. They're challenging the delegate-based electoral system used for the internal elections of these political parties. They are asking the court to declare these systems unconstitutional and push for internal elections that allow all members to participate equally and directly.
Well, the delegate system has been criticized for limiting popular participation, encouraging vote buying, and favoring candidates with financial resources. The plaintiffs, Professor Frimpong Boateng, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, and former Minister of State, Dr. Christine Amoakuniama, argue that this system undermines democracy and excludes many party members from the decision-making process. Well, let's get more on this, and my colleague Michael Ashale is in the studio with me with details of the arguments being made by the trial. Now, Michael, let's start with the core argument these three are making.
Okay, so at the heart of the case is Article 55, Clause 5 of the Constitution. And just to read it before I continue, Article 55 in itself talks about the organization of political parties. Now, the Clause 5 specifically says that the internal organization of political party shall conform to democratic principles, and its actions and purposes shall not contravene or be inconsistent with this Constitution or any other law. So now to come back to your question, it says that the trio essentially asking that the plaintiffs argue that the political parties are not private clubs. They are constitutionally recognized institutions, and their internal organization must conform to democratic principles. They say that the selection of presidential and parliamentary candidates is a core element of a party's internal organization. Because of that, every member in good standing must enjoy equal political participation and equal voting rights in those elections. According to the writ, restricting voting to delegates amounts to material disenfranchisement of ordinary party members and violates Article 170(42) and then again 55 Clause 5 of the Constitution, Pearl.
Well, they also cite specific provisions in the constitutions of these parties. Walk us through them party by party.
So let's start from the New Patriotic Party. The plaintiffs point to Article 13 of the NPP Constitution. They say, while any member can apply to contest, the final choice of presidential candidate is made by a limited electoral college. Voting, they say, is restricted to party executives, office holders, elders, MPs, ministers, TESCON representatives, and then selected delegates. Ordinary members who hold no office are excluded in many of these processes. For parliamentary candidates, Article 7 establishes an extraordinary constituency delegates conference. Again, voting is limited to executives, coordinators, polling station officers, elders, patrons, and a few others, not the full membership. With the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, the plaintiffs say the party currently operates a delegate-based electoral college under Article 43 and 44 of its constitution. And they acknowledge that the NDC once introduced universal suffrage in 2015, allowing all registered members to vote. But the party later reversed that decision and returned to a restricted electoral college in 2019. As it stands now, the three argue that the voting is confined to executives, office holders, and selected delegates, excluding the wider membership. Now to the final one, the CPP, Conventions People's Party. The three argue that in Article 96 and 77, the CPP's presidential candidate is elected by a National Delegates Congress, not by the general membership, as we have seen with the NPP and NDC. That Congress is made up of executives, elders, constituency officers, and selected representatives. Ordinary members without positions do not add up or do not make that decision for the party.
Okay.
The same applies at the constituency level for parliamentary candidates, where voting is limited to a constituency branch party conference made up of specific office holders.
So, Michael, let's go to the reliefs they are asking the Supreme Court to grant. Tell us about that.
So, they are asking the court to declare that delegate-based systems used by the three parties are unconstitutional, null, void, and of no effect. They want the court to strike down all provisions in party constitutions that restrict candidate elections to limited electoral colleges or delegate bodies. They are also asking the court to order the parties to amend their constitutions to allow equal, direct, and meaningful participation of all members in good standing. In addition, they want the Electoral Commission to be directed to enforce compliance using its supervisory powers under the Constitution and the Political Parties Act. In short, they want internal party democracy to reflect the same constitutional standards that govern national elections.
Michael Ashade, thank you so much for that breakdown.
Victor Kojo Daudu is a lawyer and a member of the Constitutional Committee of the governing NDC. Joins us on the line right now. And Victor, you don't disagree, do you, that there's a need for the political parties to expand the base of delegates beyond just a small number of those who can vote to every card-bearing member? That is fundamentally the principle here.
Yes, Evans, good evening, and good evening to all cherished listeners. I believe that this rate that has been instituted is all just about one issue where it talks about Article 55, right, about the internal organization of political party activity. Now, if you look at it, I would speak generally and speak for the NDC, especially since the NDC is the second defendant in this matter. Now, all it's asking for is that there should be a universal adult suffrage. So every qualified member and a member in good standing within the party should be given the opportunity to vote to elect the presidential candidate and the parliamentary candidate. This is the crux of the writ that has been issued. Now, the party or the political party act that has been drafted gives the party opportunity to be able to organize their activity in accordance with that. Now, if you look at Article 55, which is on political parties, says that there's a right to form political parties, and that right is guaranteed. Anybody can join, any citizen of Ghana and of voting age has a right to join the political party. Now, it says that based on the political will, a political party is free to participate in shaping the political will of the people, the information on political ideas, social, economic, of national character. The only thing that the political parties and the constitution bounds is that a political party cannot be formed on religious lines, tribal lines. You cannot have it. So that's why it says it should be of national character. So if you have a party, and it says every party must be in all districts of Ghana, and it goes on to say that at least it should be in not less than 2/3 of districts. So
I get the point. I mean, just in the interest of time, I think the sense I'm getting from all that you're quoting is that the legal architecture itself anticipates that parties should be very broad-based in its internal conduct. Doesn't then that agree with the spirit of this particular suit, and that if you're voting, allow
what
everybody else
you're
to vote?
saying is that it is not something new. The NDC during the 2015 primaries for both the presidential and parliamentary elections did the same thing, what they are asking for, where they allowed every member of good standing to vote. So at the end of the issue is that when the National Executive Council looks at this and decides and says that should we either use the Electoral College or we should shift to the universal adult suffrage. And the baseline is that it is the money that has to be used to run the elections, to elect the parliamentary candidate and also elect the presidential candidate.
And that appears to be the hurdle. I mean, because if you're going to expand this, it's going to cost you a bit more. Stay with me. I want to bring in Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Also joining me is Kwame Nkrumah Bochu, who is the General Secretary of the CPP. But Haruna Mohammed, this is something that came up when you did your conference, I believe, last year to try and amend your constitution. There were those who wanted every card-bearing member to vote. But I remember at the time, the view was that let's start with expanding the delegates base, and eventually you want to end in a place where every card-bearing member can vote. So if that was the basis from last year, I presume that you wouldn't stand in the way of this particular suit when the case is indeed called before the Supreme Court, will you?
Thank you very much. Evans, I would like to say good evening to your cherished listeners and those of your followers on the social media. I must first state that we as a political party legally have not received any writ pertaining to what you have asked me with respect to the topic and even with respect to the persons. So I am unable to speak directly legally to the writ. But if you are asking me questions referencing to the conference of the party, indeed, yes, the Michael Kwe Committee's report, which went round and received opinions from the people, and also the constitutional review of our party, indeed made a recommendation for a limited expansion whilst we take steps to get each and every member to have cards and also to be involved. And this response is related to the conference that we took decisions on the position of the party, but not on a rate that we have not received as a political party.
And for you, Mr. Bocho, where does the CPP stand on this?
Good evening to you, Evans, and good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers. The CPP was served with the writ today, and I have received a digital copy because when it was served, I was outside the office. So I've taken a cursory look at it, and I believe the crux of the whole writ rests on Article 55.5, which says that the political parties' activities should respect internal democratic principles. However, I would say that the current mode of organizing the elections within the political party does not breach the constitution as the writ seeks to infer. Indeed, the delegate system is the best system for electing the candidates as at now and electing our officers. Having the universal adult suffrage system is not feasible financially, and also legally it is not binding on anybody. The political parties elect their candidates based on who can best represent the party and who is most likely to win the election. That is for the national elections. And for the internal elections, it's about who is best able to do the work in the interest of the party. If we make it a matter of universal adult suffrage, then we can have just about anybody just applying for a party card and then voting as they wish without being fully involved in the activities of the party. Holding a party card is one thing.
And just a point there you raised earlier about its feasibility. You said one of the reasons it's not feasible is because it's just too costly. What if you box that with state funding for political parties? Another idea we've toyed with for decades. If we cross that hurdle where the state then comes in to support political parties, is this something that then becomes feasible?
Well, state funding, I suppose in an ideal situation, if we had state funding, I think there will be other factors militating against that method. But let's also remember that the state funds presently are so limited that even with our internal party elections, we receive assistance from the Electoral Commission only from the constituency elections upwards. When it comes to the electoral area and the polling station, we are supposed to organize things on our own. And the service we seek from the Electoral Commission for the constituency, it's not free, but it is heavily subsidized.
Indeed. Kwame Nkrumah Bocho, grateful. Thank you very much. That's all time allow us on this. Is the General Secretary of the CPP, a lawyer, Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, makes the point that it's practically part of their recommendations to eventually get to a place where they can allow every card-bearing member of the party to vote. And Victor Kojo with the NDC's Constitution Committee was clear that as far as they're concerned, this isn't new. This will be playing out in court with the kind of individuals backing the suit. Heavyweights indeed, Professor Frimpong Boateng, and we also have Nyaho Tamaklo trying to get the Supreme Court to compel the various political parties to open up the internal elections to all card-bearing members. What's your take on this? Send me a WhatsApp, 055-1111-997.
Well, tonight, government is questioning the basis of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Attah's fears of being mistreated, describing his posturing as an excuse to avoid accountability. Ghana's ambassador to the U.S., Victor Smith, said the former finance minister has raised concerns about how he would be treated if he returns to face the legal processes. Now, speaking to Joy News, the Minister of Government Communications, Felix Kwakye-Ofosu, said Mr. Ofori-Attah is deliberately trying to evade justice.
Mr. Ofori-Attah should be treated specially because he has concerns about how he will be treated. As far as I know, Ghana is not a banana republic. We don't throw people into jail without a real cause to due process. And indeed, as I had cause to say last week, there was a gentleman, Gregory Afoko, who under the government that Ken Ofori-Atta served in had been granted bail by a court, yet he was kept in custody for several years. I think in total he was in custody for 10 years, despite having been granted bail by a court. He is human, is he not? Mr. Ofori-Atta says he's not feeling well, and I empathize fully with him. But under him, I mentioned that 246 case to you. The second accused, Dr. Sylvester Animana, he used to be the chief director of the health ministry. He had severe kidney failure. He had hearing impairment. He had visual impairment. He could not walk, so he was in a wheelchair. Every time the case was called, he came from his house around Ashoman to the court on the high street and sat down for hours for the case to be heard. If somebody who suffered these severe ailments was put before trial by the government that Ken Ofori-Atta was part of, why is he seeking special treatment? Is he more human than Dr. Sylvester Animana? And what will be done to him? Why? So the moment he comes here, we will throw him into jail without taking him to court, or is that what he is suggesting? That is not what will happen. What will happen is that he will be arrested, he will be interrogated like everybody. If they find that there is basis, he will be charged and taken to court. And mind you, it is a special prosecutor who is pursuing Ken Ofori-Atta. The special prosecutor has only enlisted the help of government for that, because the extradition process has to be done by the Attorney General. That's all. And the special prosecutor was appointed by Ken Ofori-Atta's president, President Akufo-Addo, not President Mahama. So on what basis is he expressing fear about the appointee of his own cousin?
If the extradition process goes through just for purpose of learning, and then he is extradited back to Ghana, the Attorney General then just hands him over to
the authorities will hand him over to the special prosecutor. And the special prosecutor is mandated by law to prosecute people. He is prosecuting some people, is he not? In fact, even President Mahama, when he left office, was a subject of investigation by the special prosecutor. The special prosecutor actually invited him for questioning, and he obliged. So if a former president, in fact, President Rawlings, when he left office in 2001, for giving the famous boom speech, was invited by the BNI for questioning. He subjected himself to that process. So if former presidents can subject themselves to investigative processes, why is a former finance minister seeking to exalt himself above the laws of Ghana and citing all these untenable excuses to evade justice?
Well, Felix Kwachi also revealed that there are 280 cases of corruption under review, with at least 20 expected to have their dockets completed soon.
There are 280 cases, different cases of corruption that have been looked into. Indeed, you recall that the president set up the oral preparatory committee, and their task was just to put together information relating to these alleged cases. They presented a report with the 280 cases, and I can tell you that the Attorney General has commissioned investigations into each of them. You see, the report itself could not have formed the basis for any legal action against anybody, because they were just reports. It's like you coming to tell me that your cameraman has done the ABCD. I cannot simply say that because you have said it, then I hold him and throw him into jail. I mean, it will not make sense.
How then did we put a value on it, on how much we could recover?
No, so for instance,
that's an estimate?
It's an estimate. So that if this phone cost 200 cedis and it was stolen, that is the amount involved. If you were held accountable for stealing it, it means that you had engaged in corruption to the tune of 200 Ghana. So you put all the figures involved together. There are some that you can recover. Others may yet be difficult because of the nature of the offense. But the point I'm making is that all the 280 cases are receiving attention. And I can tell you that more than 100 people have been hauled in for questioning. Some have been arrested. Some were detained for some time. Some have been granted bail, and others too are in court.
In other news tonight, a legal battle is brewing over the operations of the newly announced Ghana Law Society, GLS, after private legal practitioner Yao Eninbuedu filed an application at the High Court seeking to suspend its activities with immediate effect. The application follows a recent public declaration by the GLS that it had received official accreditation from the General Legal Council, a move the society says would end the long-standing dominance of the Ghana Bar Association in professional legal practice.
Well, in his motion that has been filed now, Mr. Budu is asking the court to restrain the Ghana Law Society from presenting itself as a duly registered professional body or issuing any form of practicing chamber or pupillage licenses. At a brief engagement with the media today in Accra, the president of the Ghana Law Society says the group had intended to officially announce its authorization, but will hold off now until the court determines the case early in February.
There's supposed to be a motion on notice slated for hearing on the 4th of February. And today is the 26th. And so maybe a week or so away. So it won't hurt. It's not fatal to the work that we do as an association. To wait for 10 more days or 8 more days, it's not fatal. So it's rather to our benefit if the courts hear that we, out of respect for them, we haven't gone ahead to conduct ourselves that tomorrow may be considered as contumacious of the powers of the court. So in order not to do that, we are withholding that, we are abiding the outcome of the motion. And
he dismissed claims that the society is affiliated with the governing National Democratic Congress.
Does the Constitution bar NDC from forming a group? It does not. So is it by parity of reasoning, is the Ghana Bar Association an MPP group? So when people say those things, you ought to put the question in the converse. Is the Ghana Bar Association a group of MPP lawyers? Is that why they are worried? So we are not a group of NDC lawyers. We are a group of Ghanaian lawyers who have come to the bitter realization that the Ghana Bar Association has lost its luster and glamour, lost its purpose. You pay 1,200 every year, basic, as a member, every year, annual dues. You don't know how that is put to. Members have a lot of concerns. Members have crises and nobody comes to their aid as a group. So this is an association that is going to, you are cleverly compelling me to go into matters. So we are not a group of NDC lawyers. If you see a lot of NDC lawyers in our membership, it is by freedom, voluntary association and orientation.
And you heard that Roxanne Nelson Dafiamapo, he's the president of the Ghana Law Society. He joins us now via telephone. Good evening, thank you for your time here on Newsnight. First of all, what do you make of the injunction application filed by the private legal practitioner Yao Eninbuedu? Does it have any merit at all?
Well, first of all, I'll leave the merit or otherwise for the court to decide. But technically speaking, if you read Section 12 of the law, 12B, I believe, of NRCD 143/1975, Professional Bodies Act, the law is very clear that if anybody is aggrieved with the registration of a professional body by the Registrar of Companies, the person ought to do so within 30 days upon the Gazette notification of that registration. The technical question I'll ask is that we've been registered for some time now. We've been registered by the Registrar General for some time now. And I believe that the Gazette notification has been done. And so that is a hurdle for him to clear and not me. 2, if you read, I believe, Section 9 of the law, I don't have the law with me, but I have it now. If you read Section 9, it's been expunged by the VCRC Law Commission in pursuance of the statutory enactment from Parliament empowering the Law Reform Commission to align our laws upon the coming to force of the 1992 Constitution. Now, what has happened? That provision was to the effect that the Registrar of Companies can only register one association per one profession. So the Law Reform Commissioner saw that provision clearly was in breach of Article 21(1)(e), I believe, of the Constitution. Now, what does Article 21(1) of the E of the Constitution say? It talks about freedom of association. So if you had an enactment, as it were, forbidding other members belonging to the same profession from forming an association and appropriately registering same under
the relevant laws, then clearly you were outreaching their fundamental rights as enshrined in Article 21(1)(e) of the Constitution. So the Law Reform Commissioner has prescribed it.
Okay.
Yes, so these are the hurdles that the young man may have to face, but I leave that for the court to deal with.
Now, Roxanne, you have stated categorically that your society wants to break the monopoly of the Ghana Bar Association. Now, how do you respond to concerns that this would rather fracture the legal profession rather than strengthen it?
How does my exercise of my fundamental rights as enshrined in the Constitution leads to a balkanization of the legal fraternity? It's a zero-sum argument. In any case, how many professional groupings don't we have within the teaching profession? Has it diminished the lifestyle and glamour of the teaching profession?
And again,
we have UTAC. Hold on. We have UTAC. We have NAT. We have NAGRAT. Has it diminished teachers in any way? We have checked the medical and dental council and see the number of health professionals who have constituted themselves into a lot of groupings within the health subsector. It hasn't diminished the health professionals or health profession in any way. So, this talk about we making an attempt to fracture the legal profession is neither here nor there. The legal profession cannot be fractured.
Very well, but you have stated that the Ghana Bar Association has lost its purpose. So I'm just asking, what specific gaps in the legal profession do you hope that your society will address that currently the Ghana Bar Association currently falls short?
Great. We will be truly accountable to our people. We will not charge exorbitant services for facilitating the licensing regime for our members. We won't do that. We will introduce health policies and health programs for our members. We will do what we call a welfare program that will take care of lawyers. A lot of lawyers, when they grow older in the profession and they are not able to earn regularly, nobody pays attention to them. There will be a welfare regime. There will be a pension regime. So these are some of the policies that we want to introduce for the members of the Ghana Law Society. Now, as part of the extension, we are also going to have student membership. We are going to create membership for students who are presently in the faculties so that they associate with us. We will encourage them, facilitate their studies. So when they get qualified, they will transition seamlessly into professional membership. Presently, that is not the case. When you are in the faculty, you are on your own. The Ghana Bar doesn't care. They only care about you the day you are being called to the bar. And then they trust a membership form in your face to fill the Ghana Bar membership form. That sort of system should no longer be applicable. If you are interested in the membership of your association of a professional, then you must be interested in when the professional is going through his professional training. And we also introduce a lot of in-service training for our lawyers or our members to improve skills, improve advocacy, facilitate their participation in international conferences.
Very well, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo, he's the president of the Ghana Law Society. We'll leave the conversation here for now. Evans?
You're still live on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM, and George Affe is here reeling from that devastating defeat his Arsenal suffered at the hands of Manchester.
The fact remains now that we are still on top of the league, despite you beating us by that 3 goals to 2, thanks to that howler in the first half of the game. So don't worry, let's still wait till the end of the season. And let's see which team would laugh at the other side of the mouth.
What do you see?
Whether left or right.
What do you see?
It's early days yet, man.
What do you see?
Hold on.
What do you see?
Knowing Manchester United,
see 4 instead of 7.
They will see who will be the butler and then the champagne bottle.
What do you have in business,
Well,
George?
coming up in business, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiaman ties sustaining city stability for this year to managing market expectations. The Minister of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry outlines plans by government to support manufacturing firms that keep low prices on the market. We're getting you more details on that one. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. Synthesis tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Shout! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information.
MTN.
Hey, Andrea, challenge these days, new level crowd. Where did you pass?
Me, pass somewhere. I just switched for a better life. Hey. I switched for comfort. Look, your salary deserves better.
Switch?
Yeah.
How do you mean?
I switched my salary account to Fidelity Bank. Oh, okay. And that's my jackpot. I get higher loan amounts with lower interest rates, as well as personalized financial support. They gave me a loan to expand my side hustle, and the terms are just flexible.
Wow.
Your salary deserves better.
Oh, my salary deserves better. You see the way you are smiling wide? Yes, I will switch and smile wider. Your salary deserves better. Switch to Fidelity Bank today and enjoy lower interest rate, car and home loan, personalized financial support, and a smile that lasts. Switch and smile wider. Fidelity Bank. Believe with us.
If I believe with us, Fidelity. If I know I need your side, Fidelity.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom. And my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Temania Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Centerpoint Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
At Star Oil, we believe fuel is not just a commodity, it is a lifeline. Every cedi saved at the pump is a cedi that helps a mother send her child to school, a farmer transports food to the market, or a young entrepreneur deliver their first order. Our mission is to make fuel more accessible by offering consistently competitive prices, helping ease the financial burden on Ghanaian households. In a country where transportation costs can consume nearly a third of household income, this is not just business. It's a social responsibility. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuels for all.
Brush your teeth every day and night.
Brushing gets more fun with your kids with the new Pepsodent Kids toothpaste. Give your smiles protection that lasts. Grab yours today from a store near you. This advert is FDA approved.
If you want quality, this be where you belong. Strong. Oh, gonna shout and sing the song. When the sun they hot, syntax no break when the rain they fall. Still no shake. Builders they choose and plumbers they prove. Any project you they start.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama has maintained that sustaining the city's stability for this year could be dependent on managing market expectations. Speaking at the opening of the three-day Monetary Policy Committee meeting this morning, the governor noted that the dynamics going forward will be more sensitive to market sentiment.
The city has been remarkably stable in 2025, reflecting improved confidence and a strong external position. While recent pressures appear largely seasonal, expectations will now play a central role in sustaining stability.
And that is the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, speaking at the opening of the Monetary Policy Committee meeting this morning. Meanwhile, businesses are pushing for some significant cut in the policy rate to aid in the operations. Mark Bedu-Abuaji is Chief Executive of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Obviously, we anticipate that there's going to be a reduction in the rate. We may not see those huge reduction of over 350 basis points, but the numbers looks good. I think it's time for us to consistently reduce the policy rate. In situations where there's a significant reduction, those are extreme cases. But looking at the fact that, the economy, everything, the dynamics are looking good, I don't see any significant risk ahead of us over the next 3 months that should prevent the central bank or the governor from reducing the policy rate. We have been suffering from huge policy rates and huge lending rates for quite a long time. And now that the numbers are looking good, there is a need for businesses to have some relief. I think that they should give us that benefit. Because at a point in time, if all these benefits we are enjoying, if all the good numbers, if inflation begins to go up, if fuel prices begins to go up, if good prices begin to dip, the only thing that will hold us as a country to a lower inflation rate is the cost of production.
Mark Bedu-Abuaji is Chief Executive of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Government has appealed for support to aid in the full deployment of the artificial intelligence tool at the various ports in the country. The call was made by the Deputy Minister of Finance, Thomas Nyakwampe, in a speech to celebrate this year's World Customs Day.
I believe that all of you are aware of the Publican AI tool that we are ready to deploy from next month to help you in your decision-making process. We want to encourage you to support this initiative and make sure it works. I'm very determined to ensure that nobody stands in the way of the deployment of this important tool that will help us get the right revenue for the state. Our goal is to build a customs administration that is efficient, professional, and responsive to the needs of both the state and trading community, while ensuring a secure and safe environment for all stakeholders.
Deputy Minister of Finance Thomas Nyakwampe. The Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ufusujari, says government will support cement manufacturers that are committed to maintaining high quality while reducing their costs on dozen products on the market. She made this known during a working visit to the Continental Blue Investment Ghana, where manufacturers outlined efforts to cut costs through research and low raw materials, as well as environmentally friendly production.
It's obvious that CBI is into the business of research to make sure that the cost of production is minimal, and again, quality is assured. They are also conscious about the environment, which is very good in this climate change era. Any industry that is conscious of the environment must be commended. But I've told them, as Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, I want quality with good costs, and all the good things that they are doing to make sure that we have quality, yet good costs is commendable. It will be recalled that lately I've been together with industry responsible for steel and cement in a price discussion. And so anything that they will do to ensure that they produce at a good cost, yet quality is high, is something that the ministry will support. And I think they are moving in that right direction.
Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare is the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
And you want to stay for sports. George lost appetite for all sports after yesterday's
Yeah, but even I said they've won the league. I'm surprised.
But I still confident you're winning the league.
We know what Manchester United stands for.
What do we
But I
stand
still
for?
confident you're winning the league, though.
Well, it is still early days yet. Give us a match.
We are almost in February. It's not early days yet. You should know your stand by now.
Early days, the typical last stuff, man.
Alright, so Evans, you know the chaos in US right now, especially Minnesota and all that, the killings, and so that has raised a lot of concern from some fans and leaders involved in football around the world, saying fans should boycott the World Cup because it won't be safe for them to enter the US. So the latest one is former President Sepp Blatter. He believes that fans should avoid traveling to the United States for the World Cup this summer. Now, he cited Mark Pitt, who is an anti-corruption expert and law professor who chaired the Independent Governance Committee to oversee FIFA's reform process from 2013 to 2016. Now, in a recent interview with Swiss newspaper The Bund, Pitt said President Trump's international aggression and violations within the U.S. made it too risky for fans to travel from abroad. Now, United States will serve as the co-host for the 2026 World Cup alongside Mexico, Canada, with the tournament running from June 11 to July 19. And that's it for sports.
Okay, we're looking forward to that. Let's see how many people will have the courage to travel.
But do you think it will be safe, looking at what's happening?
Personally, I wouldn't travel to the US.
You're going to be in Canada and Mexico.
You can be arrested just like that. And by the time they check your passport and they find there's a valid visa, you probably would have endured quite a lot. So it isn't safe indeed. Anyway.
But it was a good win for you guys too yesterday. Being a United fan, I can. Yeah, it was a good win for you guys.
Understating what we achieved yesterday.
It was an excellent win. Let me put it that way. So should carrot continue, or you believe you should?
No, you're not there yet. This is win the next few games, and then we'll see.
All right, that's it.
It's a live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. A few of your messages coming through our WhatsApp platform. This one says Professor Baffoe-Bonnie and Dr. Tamaklu are right. The delegates conference doesn't capture universal interest. Emmanuel from the Upper East Region centers that one. Nana on the Spinters Road says, please, Afenyo Marking must accept that his friend, the ex-CJ, is no more and be prepared to work with whoever is the current one. Francis in Accra says, a formation of the Law Society is a good thing happening to Ghana and its democracy and governance. NDC should form more of these groups, as also the economic sector of governance, just as GBA and others, and Abosu can spare parts dealers, etc. They should form more groups, including those. Musa Abatwa says, Evans, I agree with the view that Ken Ofori-Atta is avoiding accountability. Additionally, the decision by the two political actors to head to the Supreme Court to challenge the delegate-based internal elections of political parties is a step in the right direction. And the final one says, good evening, Joy FM. The delegate system is seriously flawed. Why do individual aspirants have to personally foot the so-called TNT bill to delegates? Here's a question.
And let's go back to the court, because the judge presiding over the case involving multimedia group journalist Latif Idrisu, the Ghana Police Service, and the Attorney General, Eudoria Christiana Datsun, has expressed disappointment over the continued failure of the defense to present a witness. The protracted legal battle, which has spanned more than 8 years, has suffered several adjournments due to the persistent inability of the defense to call a witness, raising concerns about the timely conclusion of the case. My colleague Fatal Bayaga was in court for us and is in the studio now. Fatal, what led to the adjournment of today's case?
Pearl, just as you said, Eudora Christiana Datsun, she in fact is the fourth judge sitting on this particular protracted case. The case was adjourned multiple times since 2017, and the reason for this continuous adjournment has to do with the fact that the defense always failed to produce or to present a witness before the court to be cross-examined by lawyers of the plaintiff. In fact, this case was supposed to continue last week, but the judge was compelled to adjourn because the witness failed to show up again. And a similar thing, Pearl, happened today where the Attorney General's representative, Nancy Nita Chumesi, SCMA, came to the court with the anticipation that the witness would come, but according to her, in fact, a few minutes before the case or the judge could call the case, she says she received a call from the witness, Stephen Bailey, who said that he was handling some police recruitment cases, and for that reason he was unable to come. The trial judge, Eudora, was in fact very disappointed in that. In fact, she even said that again, an adjournment again for about 3 times, indicating that she was absolutely disappointed in this particular issue. But just after that particular engagement, we spoke with Samson Ladi Ayinene, who is the lawyer for the plaintiff Latif Idrisu. He said that the case has delayed unduly.
Left to me, it would have been done the same year the suit was filed. But as you can see, some of these things happen. But I didn't expect that we'll travel 8 years and still be here having adjournment. I'm sure you heard what the judge said. The judge is not happy. This will be the 4th or 5th judge who is taking over the matter, and she's clearly unhappy about it. You heard her, what she said, that again, adjourning again, and this will be whatever. So clearly she's not happy. But we just hope that tomorrow this witness will be available. And you've seen the proposal the judge made, that if this particular witness is not ready, you say you have 3 witnesses that you are going to put to make your case. Call any of those witnesses to come. We can't wait for the chief superintendent or a deputy superintendent of sorts. We can't wait for them.
And you heard that, the lead counsel representing Latif Idrisu, Samson Ladi Ayinene.
Well, across Ghana, the shea nut tree has long been a symbol of survival for women, providing income, food, and dignity. But today, that lifeline is drying up. Rising temperatures, erratic rains, and changing weather patterns are leaving the shea trees barren, forcing women to abandon their villages. Now, many now migrate south, working as porters or, as you know, kayaye. In bustling city markets, they carry heavy loads for little pay, facing abuse and hardship, all because the land they once depended on can no longer sustain them. Now, this is a story of how bad weather is pushing women from share fields into the harsh reality of the streets. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin has more.
Initially, picking shea nut was a profitable venture for me, generating between 500 and 1,000 cedis monthly. However, the business I invested in didn't thrive due to the decline of the shea nut industry. As a result, I had to relocate to Kumasi and take up work as a porter to make ends meet.
Mariam is one of thousands once shea nut collectors, now head porters, working long hours for very little.
What I'm doing here is tough. Back home, being a shea nut collector was good.
3 young women, 3 different communities, but the same reason for leaving home. The shea trees no longer fruit. Mariam Isako is another former shea collector.
Carrying heavy loads can cause neck and body pain.
Scientists say the weather is changing and the trees cannot survive. Dr. Regina Tang Guru is the head of Forest and Climate Change Division at the CSIR Forestry Research Institute of Ghana.
Increased temperature and reduced rainfall, which is drought, are definitely going to have a stress on the plant. and that affects various physiological properties of the tree.
Dry biomass and wildfires now destroy huge stretches of shade trees every year. Dr. Guru again.
If we do not pay attention to it, we can expect more serious negative economic consequences.
The shade tree is often called women's gold. It feeds homes across the north and supports nearly 1 million Ghanaian women. But today, the women's gold is disappearing. The Global Share Alliance, through the Ghana Share Landscape Emission Reductions Project, combines protection of existing trees with large-scale replanting, aiming to revive the share economy and restore livelihoods. Aaron Edu is the managing director.
Every year we seed, that is, we put into polypot about 1.5 million, right? And we get about 50% of that germinating and another 75% of the 50 surviving before we graft some and take some to the we transplant the rest.
This is a Joy News CDKN University of Ghana C3SS project with funding from Claire R4I Opportunities Fund. A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
And it's good to repeat what Mohamed Nuruddin just said there, that the story just heard is in partnership with CDKN, University of Ghana, C3SS collaboration, with funding support from the Clear R4I Opportunities Fund. Still live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM.
Crowd noise and live reactions from the world's biggest streamer iShowSpeed as he touches down in Ghana's eastern region to begin a one-day tour of the country. Ghana marks the final stop on iShowSpeed's African tour, which is taking him through 19 countries, including Eswatini, Nigeria, South Africa, and Benin. Now known for turning every stop into a global spectacle, the YouTube star is once again drawing massive attention online. Social media executive with Multimedia Group Limited, Jacqueline and Somaya Boy, has been tracking the live stream, which currently has nearly 200,000 people watching live, alongside iShowSpeed's 50+ million subscribers on YouTube. Now, Jackie joins us via Zoom for more on this. Jackie, first of all, for those who don't know, who exactly is iShowSpeed and why is his visit such a big moment for Ghana? Briefly.
Well, Pearl, so he's one of the biggest live streamers and digital entertainers that we have. As you rightly said, more than 50 million subscribers on YouTube. And for Ghana, it's a big deal because it looks like this isn't a staged tourism campaign, but it's Ghana being experienced live, like unfiltered in front of hundreds and thousands of people, because this is a stream where I'm currently watching and we have almost 200,000, and everything you see in here is part of Ghana's culture and everyone wants to experience that. And it actually puts the country firmly in the global digital spotlight, Pearl.
Thank you very much, Jackie. So Evans, iShowSpeed has adopted a new name on this tour.
This name is given to you by His Royal Majesty Today, we are giving you a special name for a hero, a champion, a great man. Today, they are giving you Berima Kofi Ekufu.
Berima Kofi Ekufu.
Berima Kofi means you are born on Friday.
Berima Kofi Ekufu.
And you have Evans with the new name, Berima Kofi Ekufu, which means he was born on a Friday. Evans, do you know iShowSpeed at all?
Well, my kids know. So today, for example, we're arguing who is he, and I remember him because there's a particular song they used to sing about 4 or 5 years ago. And so I called my son to say, iShowSpeed, what is his claim to fame? And then he sang the song. And I remember that one. I'm just watching his live feed now. He's somewhere in Accra. He's eating with a group of women with his hands. His bodyguards are now ushering him somewhere. He has 164,000 people watching him. Now he has 50.5 million subscribers. Goodness me.